Have you ever wondered how a $20,000 shark leather briefcase sitting in a Monaco boutique window is actually made? Behind that sleek, textured surface lies a journey spanning 18 months, from the deep waters of the Pacific to the hands of master craftsmen in specialized ateliers. Grab yourself a strong espresso and settle in, because over the next several minutes, I'm taking you inside one of the most exclusive and misunderstood industries in luxury goods. But before we dive deep, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what you're about to discover will change how you see every leather product forever. The shark leather industry exists in a space most people never talk about. While crocodile and python dominate the exotic leather conversation, shark skin, also known as shagreen, has quietly commanded prices that rival the rarest materials on Earth. We're talking about briefcases priced between $15,000 and $30,000, belts that cost $3,000 per piece, and waiting lists that stretch 2 years. Why? Because shark leather isn't just rare. It's technically complex, environmentally regulated, and requires expertise that takes decades to master. Let's start at the very beginning. Not all sharks end up as luxury leather. The industry primarily sources from specific species like blue shark, mako shark, and occasionally blacktip shark. These aren't hunted specifically for leather. In fact, that would be both illegal and economically unsustainable. Instead, the leather comes as a byproduct of the commercial fishing industry. When fishing vessels catch tuna, swordfish, or other commercial species using longline methods in international waters, sharks are sometimes caught as bycatch. Rather than waste these animals, certified facilities purchase the entire carcass. The meat goes to food markets in Asia and Europe. The fins are destroyed to prevent illegal trade. The cartilage goes to pharmaceutical companies, and the skin, our focus today, enters the luxury leather pipeline. Here's where it gets fascinating. A commercial fishing operation in the North Pacific lands approximately 200 sharks per month as regulated bycatch. These sharks average between 6 and 8 feet in length and weigh around 150 to 200 pounds. But only 30% of these sharks have skin suitable for luxury leather production. Why? The skin must be free from scarring, net damage, or natural blemishes. A single deep scar from a fight with another shark can render an entire hide useless for high-end products. Inspectors examine each shark immediately after landing, measuring thickness, checking for parasites, and documenting the exact species. This traceability is critical because international laws like CITES strictly regulate shark trade. Once approved, the shark is processed on site within 4 hours. Time is the enemy here. Shark skin deteriorates faster than most people realize due to its unique structure. Unlike cow or goat leather, shark skin contains thousands of tiny dermal denticles, essentially microscopic teeth embedded in the hide. These denticles give shark leather its signature rough texture and incredible durability. But they also make the skin extremely difficult to preserve. The processing team works fast, carefully removing the skin in one continuous sheet from just behind the head to the tail. An experienced technician can complete this in 12 minutes. The skin is immediately submerged in a salt brine solution mixed with specific pH stabilizers. Temperature control is critical. The brine must stay between 38 and 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Any warmer and bacterial growth begins within hours. The preserved skins are then shipped to specialized tanneries, and here's something most people don't know. There are only 11 tanneries in the entire world certified to process shark leather for luxury goods. 7 are in Italy, 2 in France, 1 in Japan, and 1 in the United States. These facilities have invested millions in equipment specifically designed for shagreen processing. Why so few? Because tanning shark leather isn't like tanning cowhide. Those dermal denticles I mentioned earlier must be carefully sanded down to create a smooth surface while maintaining the skin's natural texture and strength. This process, called leveling, requires custom-made machines with diamond-tipped rollers that rotate at precisely calibrated speeds. When the skins arrive at the tannery, they undergo inspection again. Each hide is photographed, measured, and graded on a scale from A to D. Only A and B grade skins make it to luxury production. A single blue shark hide, measuring roughly 5 feet by 2 feet, will be inspected for 30 minutes. Workers check for consistency in denticle size, evaluate natural color variation, and test flexibility in different sections. Here's the hard truth. Out of 100 shark skins that enter a tannery, only 45 will be deemed suitable for briefcases and belts. The rest get downgraded to less demanding applications like small accessories or industrial uses. The tanning process for shark leather takes between 90 and 120 days, far longer than conventional leather. It begins with what's called the soaking phase. Workers submerge the skins in massive rotating drums filled with water and enzymatic solutions. These enzymes break down remaining tissue and fat without damaging the dermal denticles. The drums rotate at exactly 4 revolutions per minute for 72 hours straight. Too fast and the denticles chip. Too slow and the skin doesn't clean properly. After soaking, each hide is stretched onto a stainless steel frame, and workers begin the painstaking process of removing the denticles. Here's where craftsmanship meets brutality. A master tanner uses a custom tool that looks like a dentist's scraper, working centimeter by centimeter across the entire hide. The goal isn't to remove the denticles completely, but to sand them down to a uniform height of 0.05 millimeters. This creates that signature shagreen texture, slightly raised and incredibly tactile. One hide takes approximately 16 hours of handwork. The tanner must maintain consistent pressure and angle throughout. One mistake, one section sanded too deep, and a potential $3,000 briefcase panel becomes a $200 phone case. The rejected rate at this stage hovers around 20%. That means for every 5 hides that reach this point, 1 gets downgraded. Next comes the actual tanning, where chemistry becomes art. Unlike chrome tanning used for most commercial leather, shark skin requires vegetable tanning with a modern twist. The hides go into pits filled with tannin solutions derived from oak, chestnut, and quebracho trees. But here's the secret. Tanneries add proprietary chemical compounds that interact specifically with the collagen structure in shark skin. These formulas are guarded like nuclear codes. One Italian tannery has used the same formula since 1963, passed down through 3 generations of master tanners. The hides sit in these tanning pits for 45 days, with the solution gradually increasing in concentration. Workers test the pH levels 3 times daily. The target is 4.2 to 4.5. Deviate by even 0.1, and the leather becomes too stiff or too weak. While the leather tans, let's talk about what makes shark leather so special from an engineering perspective. Remember those dermal denticles? Even after sanding, they create a microstructure that makes shark leather up to 3 times more resistant to abrasion than cowhide. Lab tests show that shark leather can withstand over 50,000 rub cycles before showing wear, compared to 15,000 for premium calf skin. This is why vintage shark leather briefcases from the 1930s are still functional today. The leather simply doesn't break down. But here's the trade-off. That same structure makes shark leather incredibly difficult to dye. The denticles create microscopic air pockets that resist dye penetration. Standard leather dyes just sit on the surface and rub off. So tanneries developed specialized drum dyeing processes. The leather goes into heated drums with dye solutions containing alcohol-based carriers that can penetrate the air pockets. The drums rotate for 18 hours at 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Even then, achieving consistent color requires 3 separate dye cycles. This is why most shark leather products come in darker colors like navy, black, or deep brown. Lighter colors like tan or gray require 5 dye cycles and still show variations. A briefcase in camel-colored shark leather can cost 40% more than the same design in black, simply because of dye complexity. After dyeing, the leather undergoes fat liquoring, where natural oils are massaged back into the hide to restore flexibility. Shark leather loses moisture rapidly during tanning, becoming stiff as cardboard. The fat liquoring process takes 12 days, with workers applying oil blends by hand, section by section. Now the leather is ready for finishing, and this is where luxury brands get involved. A procurement specialist from a design house in Paris or Milan visits the tannery with specific requirements. They're looking for hides with particular characteristics. Maybe they need darker natural tones for a limited edition briefcase line, or they want specific denticle patterns for belt production. They'll inspect hundreds of finished hides, selecting perhaps 20 for their production. The selection process can take 3 days. Each chosen hide is photographed, measured precisely, and assigned a unique identification number. This traceability ensures that if a customer buys a $30,000 briefcase, the brand can tell them exactly which shark the leather came from, where it was caught, and who tanned it. The selected hides are shipped to specialized cutting facilities. Here's something fascinating. You cannot cut shark leather the way you cut cow leather. Those denticles, even after processing, still have directional grain. Cut against the grain, and the leather tears easily. Cut with the grain, and it's nearly impossible to puncture. Master cutters study each hide for hours, mapping out panel locations based on denticle flow, natural color variation, and thickness. For a single executive briefcase, they need 6 panels: front, back, 2 side gussets, bottom, and flap. But they can't just cut 6 rectangles. Each panel must be positioned so the denticule texture flows in the same direction across the entire assembled briefcase. This requires a hide at least 4 feet long and 2 feet wide with minimal blemishes. Here's the sobering reality. From one premium shark hide, a cutter might only extract enough usable leather for 1 briefcase and perhaps 2 belts. The remaining pieces, maybe 60% of the hide, become smaller accessories or get sold to secondary manufacturers. This is why shark leather commands such astronomical prices. The yield is terrible. For belts, the cutting is even more critical. A luxury belt needs a strip 36 inches long, 1.5 inches wide, with absolutely perfect denticule alignment. The cutter might examine 20 hides before finding the right section, and they only get one chance. There's no room for error. A miscut means hundreds of dollars wasted. Once the panels are cut, they arrive at specialized ateliers, where master craftsmen begin assembly. These workshops employ 8 to 12 artisans, each with minimum 15 years experience in exotic leather work. A single shark leather briefcase requires 60 hours of handwork spread across 3 weeks. Let's break down the process. First comes edge preparation. Every cut edge of shark leather is rough and fibrous. Craftsmen sand each edge using progressively finer grits from 80 to 600, then burnish with wooden tools and beeswax under friction heat. This creates the glossy sealed edge you see on luxury goods. One briefcase has 18 linear feet of exposed edges. Each foot takes 20 minutes to finish properly. That's 6 hours dedicated solely to edge work. Next is structural reinforcement. Despite its durability, shark leather needs backing for weight-bearing items. Craftsmen laminate a thin layer of premium cowhide to the interior of each panel using water-based adhesives in a vacuum press. The panels cure for 48 hours. Rush this process and you get delamination failures within months of use. While panels cure, hardware preparation happens simultaneously. Locks, hinges, corner protectors, handle mounts, every piece is custom fitted. The lock mechanism alone contains 37 moving parts and costs $400. Each lock gets tested 500 times before installation. The handle requires 3 days of production, with shark leather carefully wrapped around a reinforced flexible core. Assembly is where true mastery appears. Using saddle stitching, craftsmen join panels with 2 needles and waxed linen thread. They punch holes 3 millimeters apart using a pricking iron, then pass both needles through from opposite sides, creating lock stitches that never unravel. The main body requires 800 individual stitches at 20 seconds each. That's over 4 hours of hand stitching. Shark leather presents unique challenges here. The material is so dense that needles dull rapidly. A craftsman goes through 6 needles per briefcase. If a needle breaks inside the leather, the denticule structure grips the metal. The craftsman must drill out the fragment with a microbit and repunch the hole, adding hours to production. Interior construction follows. Pockets, document sleeves, and compartments made from calf, leather, or fabric get stitched and fitted into the shark leather shell. Everything must sit perfectly flat with no bulging. Quality control is ruthless. Inspectors examine every centimeter under magnification, checking stitch consistency. Edge finish. Hardware alignment. They load 20 pounds into the briefcase and stress test handle attachments, locks, and hinges. 8% get rejected at this stage. A briefcase representing 60 hours of labor might be rejected because 3 stitches show irregularity. Rejected pieces get disassembled and the leather repurposed for smaller items. Belt production is simpler but equally exacting. The leather strip gets backed with calf leather, edges finished to mirror smoothness, holes punched at precise intervals. The buckle, cast in brass or titanium, attaches with hidden screws. A belt takes 12 hours to complete. Because belts flex constantly, they receive special flexibility treatments after assembly. The finished belt wraps around a cylinder for 1 week to develop proper curve memory. Without this, the belt never sits naturally on the body. Packaging reflects the product's value. Custom wooden boxes lined with suede or velvet hold each piece. Authentication papers, care instructions, and leather conditioning cream accompany every item. Some brands include photos of the actual hide used, providing full traceability. The briefcase goes into acid-free tissue, then a dust bag, then its presentation box. Packaging takes 90 minutes per unit. Now the economics. A shark leather briefcase retails between $18,000 and $35,000. Belts range from $2,500 to $5,000. Here's the breakdown. Raw shark hide costs $300. Tanning and finishing adds $800. The leather panel set for one briefcase represents $1,100 in material cost. Atelier labor runs $3,000 across all specialized craftsmen. Hardware, interior materials, and packaging add another $1,000. Brand markup, distribution, and profit account for the remaining $12,000 to $29,000. The global market is tiny, but fiercely loyal. Approximately 12,000 people worldwide regularly purchase shark leather goods. These are collectors, executives, and enthusiasts who value durability, rarity, and provenance. A well-maintained shark leather briefcase outlasts its owner. Documented pieces from the 1920s remain in daily use. Unlike conventional leather that dries and cracks, shark leather improves with age. Natural oils combined with proper conditioning create a patina that deepens over decades. The material simply doesn't break down. From regulated Pacific fishing operations through 11 specialized tanneries worldwide to master craftsmen spending weeks on each piece, that's the journey of shark leather briefcases and belts. It's precision, patience, and respect for material and craft. These aren't just accessories. They're investments lasting generations, explaining why collectors treat them as heirlooms rather than fashion items. If this deep dive into manufacturing fascinated you, subscribe for more explorations into the world's most complex production processes. We reveal the hidden stories behind objects most people never question. Until next time, keep asking how things are made.